We want to apologize for the late start. Let me welcome you to our great expert, Janet Bennett. We're going to be talking about new techniques about stop snoring. Good afternoon, Janet. We made it.
Hello, we did make it. I'm so glad. Um,
That's the first time that's ever
I
happened.
know, I
Where
know.
anyway, uh,
Anyway, it's stop
we're going
snoring
to
and
we're going to go right into the show. Tell everybody about Janet Bennett and what
okay.
you do.
Okay, great. We're going to stop snoring in LA today. So,
Yay!
so here we go. I'm Janet Bennett. I'm a speech pathologist, have been for a lot of years. And I was working with a 14-year-old football player one day, and I was doing tongue exercises with him because he had a problem with some sounds that he was making, and so we were working on strengthening his muscles in his mouth and tongue. And the third time that I saw him, his mom came into my office and she said, "Janet, what are you doing to Adam?" And I said, "Well, what do you mean?" And she said, "Well, he's always been the loudest snorer in the world, and now he's not making a sound." Well, I didn't know anything about snoring, so I couldn't appreciate it so much at that time. But I asked Adam, I said, "Well, what's going on? Tell me more." And he said, "Well, it's true. I'm doing better in school. I can concentrate more and I run faster." And so that, of course, got my attention. And it still has my attention today. That's why I keep hanging on to all of
Yes.
this too. Um, yeah, so he can run faster. And so I ran home and got on a computer. And that's how long ago it was. And I found that they weren't doing tongue exercises to correct snoring. I thought for sure that's what they were doing because I did it and didn't even know what I was doing. But anyway, that's not what I found. I found that they wanted to cut off your uvula or break your jaw and pull it forward to make your airway bigger, or sell you a $6,000 appliance, or
Yes.
all kinds of things, or the
Like I
CPAP
did.
machine. And back then, that CPAP machine was a big, huge, ugly looking thing. They look a lot better nowadays, but it was scary.
They still look, the hospital ones are still bad, Janet,
Oh,
because I
really?
told you last week when I
Yeah,
was in the hospital,
yeah,
it's this huge, loud machine. And when Janet tells the story about the football player and about him not being tired anymore, what people, because I was a snorer, what people don't understand, when you have sleep apnea, you do not sleep through the night like a normal human being. So you do not ever get enough rest. So I totally relate with the football player.
right, right. That's right. So, anyway, whenever I discovered that no one was using tongue exercises, this is the way I work. I immediately decided I need to save the world. And so I would come up with a plan to share these exercises with everyone. Sounded easy to me. so so what I decided to do was I wanted to make sure. Now I knew Adam wasn't telling me a lie, but I had to make sure that it would work again. So I found 86 people all over the United States who would be my guinea pigs. And so I spent 8 months treating 86 people. And at the time we didn't have Zoom, so I would email them the lessons for the I have 7 lessons, and one each week. So each week I would email them that lesson, and then we would talk that evening and make sure they knew how to do the exercises. And they helped me word it, and it was great. It was great. And so after all was said and done, from the 86 people, I want you to know that 94% stopped snoring. And I was convinced that it worked. So, yeah, even 11 of those 86 people were using CPAP machines, and I believe three of them went off of their machines, even though I would never tell anybody to do that. But anyway, so
And you
so
don't, you
here I
never.
am. I'm with Steve today and just trying to get the word out to as many people as possible. Another kid that I'm presently working with, he's 13, And Steve, I think I told you this last week. This kid just ran a mile run. I don't know the lingo. I don't know how you say it, but he ran for a mile. And he was able, oh, he's been in my program for 3 weeks. He's learning how to breathe through his nose. And he decided right before this race last week that he was going to keep his mouth shut the entire time he was running. And he shaved 35 seconds off of his time. That was huge.
Unbelievable.
People thought he was taking something or something, and he wasn't going to tell them it was tongue exercises. But it's because he was breathing through his nose. So we're talking about tongue thrust and snoring. All of this goes together, and I know today we're talking about the snoring, and I want to make sure that you understand that when you breathe through your mouth, the chances that you're going to snore are huge, okay? Because your mouth's open, and you're not likely to breathe through your nose while your mouth is open. So the
Right.
air is going to come in and out, and it's going to make sounds like snoring. And if you do this long enough, excuse me, if you do this long enough in your lifetime and you snore louder and louder, it could lead to sleep apnea. Sleep apnea is a really bad thing. And I can't say that I can help sleep apnea because that's a medical condition and I'm not a doctor. But sleep apnea can, that's when you're sleeping, you think you're sleeping, you're in bed, and all of a sudden you stop breathing like that. And if you have a significant other in the bed with you, they're rubbing you,
Literally stop breathing.
trying to wake you up. Anyway, so your brain hopefully wakes you up if the other person doesn't. And that's a sign of sleep apnea. And a lot of people might stop breathing 45 times an hour or 65 times an hour. That would be 1 time a minute. Very dangerous for your heart. So I do know that as I help people stop snoring, that's going to also prevent them from getting sleep apnea, right? Does that make sense to you, Steve?
Totally agree.
Okay.
So, Janet, I've got a surprise for you.
What?
I have not shared this with you at all.
Uh-oh.
So, Janet, I'm not a guinea pig because she's done this so many times, but I'm on a BiPAP, not a CPAP, a BiPAP machine. Mine was so bad. And I have been doing Janet's exercises. And last night, because I knew we were going to have the show on today, Janet, I did not put my CPAP machine on. And on my cell phone, I've got a recorder, and it records up to 2 hours. And last night, I turned the recorder on. I don't know how long I was awake before I fell asleep, but I was at least asleep for an hour and a half. And I wanted to see if I snored like I usually would do without my CPAP machine. Janet, there was no snoring.
Fantastic. Now, why?
Is
What made
that
that
not
happen?
amazing?
What did you do to make that happen?
Well, I'm doing your exercises.
But what specifically?
You know what? I don't know because I'm doing all of your
Okay.
exercises, but I know my mouth isn't open,
That's right. That's it.
and
That's the key.
I know that if I don't have the machine on, that I snore, and I snore so loud, I wake myself up. But that's how
Oh,
God made us, because we
okay.
literally stop breathing. But I
Okay.
wanted to see if I taped myself
Yeah.
and see if I snored. Now, I don't know after an hour and a half or 2 hours, but normally when you have sleep apnea, you start snoring right away as soon as you fall asleep. It doesn't take hours for it to set in.
Right. 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 Well, I'm so
So
proud of you. That's great.
your your exercises, Janet, which is what you teach people,
Right.
it absolutely, for me, is working.
It and you've only done like 3 lessons, I think.
Yeah, I've
And
done a little bit more than that, but because I've been in the hospital and I wasn't, they did not want me doing. They said I had to use the machine,
right,
and that's when Janet was telling you how big and the machines in the hospital are big and they're loud and they're uncomfortable. Well, all machines I think are
right,
uncomfortable,
right.
but
Okay.
I want people to know that even if you deny snoring, because a lot of snorers deny that they snore like
Right,
it's some taboo.
right.
If you take um, Janet's sessions, and Janet, tell people how you are there for them.
Okay. Okay, so what my program is, like I said, it's 7 weeks long. And you can, this program, I made it. Remember, I was going to save the world. So I made this program so that a person could purchase it online and that the directions were so simple and that they would have so much help from me, from seeing me do things or hearing me or whatever, that they would easily be able to do this program. So each lesson is just some new exercises. Like one might be where you put your tongue on the roof of your mouth. And when I was growing up, this was
That was the first one I did.
a scolding sound, or it was a call your dog sound. And it goes like this.
Right.
Okay. And one time I was working with a lady on Zoom, and she started doing that exercise, and her dog came running. So I know she was doing it right. But anyway, we start with the muscles in the tip of the tongue and work our way back to the back of the tongue. When you start lesson one and you click on the button for lesson one, you can actually see me showing an adult male how to do each exercise. So you don't have to just read and think, oh, I wonder if this is right or not. You can see me as if I'm sitting there with you. And you have to exercise, you have to do your exercises 2 times a day, or it will not work. Okay, this does require some commitment, but it's easy, maybe 15 minutes, usually not very long at all. And there's another website where you go to, and I am sitting at my desk welcoming you in to do your exercises with me. And I'll count to 5 for you, or count 5 minutes, or whatever needs to be done. Just copy me. You don't have to think. You just copy me. And that's about as easy as it can be. Now, here are the quick goals I have to tell you. The goals are to teach your tongue to live on the roof of your mouth like that. The other goal is to teach you to breathe through your nose. So you train to keep your lips closed. And that's it. That's all there is to it.
And
Those
Janet,
2
I
simple
was
goals. Uh-huh.
biting my tongue a lot. Remember, I was biting my tongue a lot, and it was because my
And
tongue was literally too big for my mouth,
it
right?
it was like this, Steve. It was like this.
Yeah.
It was too
And
wide.
so Janet's got these amazing exercises that I cannot believe no one has ever thought to do. And I have not bitten my tongue in probably 2 weeks. I have
Yeah, yeah,
not bitten.
yeah. What did you do to make that happen?
I just did your exercises.
Yeah,
What
but
was
there's a
amazing
special
though, what
uh,
was amazing is how um, the muscle meant the memory, because I mean, I've only
well,
been doing these for about
okay,
three
so
weeks.
here's what we did. This is a tongue stick. That's a
Yes.
novel name, tongue stick. I couldn't think of anything else. But it has 2 different, purposes here, but this is what will make your tongue skinnier. I know it's weird. It is the weirdest thing you'll ever do. One man used to put it in his pocket and he'd ride down the road, and at stoplight, he'd get his stick out and do his exercises. But this makes your tongue skinnier because it tickles, it stimulates the muscles on the sides of the tongue, and the muscles go like that. And then, Steve, you were referring to the muscle memory. So it stays that way. So now,
Yes.
well, all of a sudden, Steve stopped biting the sides of his tongue. What does that mean? The only thing it can mean is that his tongue's out of the way, right? That's right. Good job. I'm proud of
Right.
you. Mhm. Okay, so you do your exercises, and every week you should see some changes. Okay, and I want you to think. You might be thinking, "Is this program for me?" Let me just ask you quickly: do you wake up with a dry mouth? Do you wake up with a headache? Do you wake up with a sore throat that goes away quickly? Do you get sleepy during the day? Now, if you get sleepy
Not
during
I
the day,
haven't in the last 3 weeks. I haven't.
oh, good. Okay, well, daytime sleepiness is the number one symptom of not sleeping well. Okay, so let's say you're doing the exercises, and pretty quickly you are going to notice, I didn't get sleepy until 3 o'clock today, and then I didn't get sleepy until 5 o'clock, and then one day you aren't going to get sleepy. So it gradually helps you to get better. And the other symptoms are you might have messy bed sheets, meaning you're a restless sleeper. You might have asthma. You might have pains in your neck and shoulders. There are lots of things that can hurt because of mouth breathing. How are we doing for time?
But we've got a few minutes left.
Okay.
But I want to tell people everybody is different. Like you said about the 7 week program, mine was shorter.
Well,
I
you're
mean,
not
everybody.
through.
I mean, and there might be some that are longer than 7. I don't know,
No.
but mine took about 2 weeks.
Well, you aren't through yet, Steve. We're still exercising all the muscles, but you started responding very well. See, so it can happen very
Amazing.
quickly, but we don't stop. We
No,
have to
I.
do
You
all
know
of
what?
the
I'm gonna tell
exercises.
you something. The thing that's going to keep me from stopping is wearing that BiPAP machine mask. All I got
That's
to do
right.
is think of that.
That's right.
That
Yeah,
will make me want to
right.
continue. And the
Okay.
exercises are so easy.
Yeah, they are.
Um, and Janet makes them easy the way she teaches. And I'm so glad you do the video. The video, because we do it through Zoom, but the video really is going to help, Janet.
Yes, I know. It's going to be like I'm there with you.
Yes, because there's some things that she really needs to explain the first time to you.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so easy to pick up. But if you're a snorer, even if you don't want to admit it or not,
Right. We
it's
won't
very
tell.
dangerous. Yeah, it's Jan. I just people don't realize how dangerous the snoring is,
Well, if
and
it
that it
leads to
leads
sleep apnea,
what it
yeah.
leads to.
Well, let me interject here of something I just said. People think that we know sleep apnea is bad, and then people think that snoring is not bad. But snoring is bad because you're mouth breathing. Okay, so we've got to
Yeah,
remember
that's true.
it's still bad because you are mouth breathing, even though it's not considered a medical condition. It really should be because it causes
Yes.
all the problems that sleep apnea causes, except with the heart. Okay, sleep apnea has the heart problem with it, so none of it is
Jan,
safe.
I've been meaning to ask you, do you think all of your training, Janet is a speech pathologist, do you think with all of your training, it helped you to develop any of this?
Well, w well, I didn't get trained in college, and that was a long time ago. I'm not even sure that they're teaching it in college now, which is kind of strange. But the thing about speech therapy, speech therapist and treating tongue thrust in schools, and I bring up
Yes.
tongue thrust because that's when You're swallowing incorrectly, and it ends up making you mouth breathe, which leads to snoring and then to sleep apnea. So it's all connected. But the speech therapists in schools are not allowed to treat tongue thrust because it's not an
Wow.
educational program. But see, they don't understand. They don't understand how unhealthy snoring, tongue thrust is for you,
Yes.
because it can make you not be able to concentrate in school, just like the 14-year-old football player. Okay, poor grades. And at the time, probably about 30 years ago, they were saying that 86% of kids who had been diagnosed with ADHD really were only sleep deprived.
I understand that.
That's huge. That's huge. And I
Yeah.
don't know if it's much different in the number, the percentage nowadays or not, you know? And that's a huge thing. I mean, I feel like I need to tell everybody, but word of mouth, maybe you
We're going to
guys that
get
are
the word out.
listening, tell
This is an
everybody.
amazing program.
It
I
really
want
is.
anybody who has been told that they snore, whether you admit it or not, you got to call Janet. It doesn't matter what part of the country you're in. Um, she can do this from anywhere,
Okay,
anywhere.
let me add this. I forgot. This is a new thing that I'm offering. If you are contemplating whether or not you should get this program, um, we can Zoom for a quick screening, like a 15-minute screening. And I'll tell you if you'd be good for the program or not. And of course, I'm not going to lie to
You're
you
not going
because
to
I
give
don't
away
want
the
you
secret
to.
sauce, are you?
No, 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 no. But
Okay,
then
good.
when you purchase the program, you get a free, because the price did not change when I added this, you get a free 45-minute consult with me. When you first get it, I will meet with you, I will evaluate you, and make sure that you understand how to do everything. And the ones that I've done, I enjoy it so much, and they get so much out of it, and they leave me with confidence and hope.
And you know what? I got to tell everybody, I was the guy who tried everything. Those little steri strips on the nose that they sell online. I tried everything. Nothing. And I mean, nothing worked until I went on the BiPAP machine. But there's nothing else out there. And what this
That's
is,
right.
I'm going to say this. Janet can't say this, but this is going to get me off the machine. And I don't care what the doctors say. Janet, give everybody your phone number and your website address.
Okay, it's 828-273-9888. And you can go to author, AUTHOR, at IJustWantToSleep.com. I bet you've said that a few times. I just want to sleep. Or you can go to correctmytonguethrust.com. There's several places you can go.
And by the
Yeah,
way, if you want some friends to listen to tonight's show, you can send them to YouTube. Ask the experts, Los Angeles, stop snoring, and they can review tonight's show either on iHeart or you can go to YouTube. Either way, and they're always in there. And I think we have a show tomorrow morning too. I believe
we
we have an
do.
Atlanta show. I think tomorrow morning. Anyhow,
Yep.
thank you, Janet. I love
Thank you.
you. You're saving my life. And we'll be back again with you next week with more Ask the
Okay.
Expert.
Thank
Thanks, Janet.
you. Bye-bye.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.